Gals and Music Pals. Today we are reading our last composer story time. This is about Mr. Woody Guthrie. He's an American composer, and I am personally really enjoying listening to him. It just reminds me of spending time with my grandmother when I was in elementary school, because this was the sort of stuff that she would play on the radio, that older country type feel. So it's really nostalgic and I really like it. But Mr. Guthrie was born in Okmah, Oklahoma in 1912, and he died in Queens, New York in 1967. He was a songwriter enormously important to modern American folk music. His 1,000 songs include This Land Is Your Land and So Long It's Been Good to Know You. Most of you should know This Land Is Your Land. If not, I know exactly what song we're going to learn to sing when we get back to school. Woody Guthrie was small for his age. It was made fun of at school. To keep classmates off his back, he entertained in the schoolyard each morning, playing the harmonica and dancing jigs. Guthrie never did finish high school. Instead, after a series of tragedies had split up his family, he left Oklahoma at age 16 for the open road. For a time, Guthrie worked at a drugstore where the boss had a guitar. When there were no customers, he pecked on it, trying to recreate the songs his mother had sung: country ballads, nonsense songs, lullabies. Ideas for new songs came from street people, newspapers, books he read. A dusty little man with a guitar slung over his shoulder, Guthrie toured the country, singing on radio shows, at parties, and at political rallies. He was a rambling man in the travel and troubadour tradition. He loved words and finding new ways to put them together. His father had played word games with him. He wrote songs on anything: napkins, paper bags, and wide sheets of paper in the extra-wide typewriter of his friend Lee Hayes, from the folk singing group The Weavers. Guthrie had periods of nonstop creativity. He wrote 26 songs in 1 month, including Roll on Columbia and Pastures of Plenty, while working in Oregon on a documentary film. Once someone asked him where he was from, and within minutes he was writing Oklahoma Hills, which became a country music standard. In California, he sang of Dust Bowl refugees, with whom he especially identified. So Long It's Been Good to Know You was about people who had left Oklahoma and other states, starting life over after dust storms caused them to lose their land, their jobs, and their homes. He wrote Union Maid, for 10 years his most popular song, in support of the labor movement. I Ain't Got No Home was a reaction to a popular hymn called This World Is Not My Home, which he felt led people to accept poor treatment. Another song that made him mad was Irving Berlin's God Bless America, which struck him as unrealistic. His response was This Land Is Your Land, now considered an honorary national anthem. Woody Guthrie had a flat, dry voice and was only an average guitar player, but he had a way of performing that made people take notice. He was very funny, with a graceful Oklahoma drawl. One of his favorite ways of singing was the talking blues, a black art form he excelled at. He wore blue jeans and shaved when he felt like it. On the road, he also bathed when he felt like it. One time, a friend picked him up and just plopped him in the bathtub. He smoked cigarettes constantly, and he was a walking suitcase, sometimes wearing 5 shirts at a time. Guthrie married 3 times and had 8 children. Restless and moody, he was on the road much of the time. He thought money corrupted people, and he often gave it away. Guthrie was hospitalized most of the last 15 years of his life with a progressive nerve disease. He died at age 55. The same year that he died, his 21-year-old son recorded Alice's Restaurant, the long-talking blues that made Arlo Guthrie famous. And our last musical notes. Guthrie wrote many of his best songs, the Car Car Song, Put Your Finger in the Air, for children. He compiled Songs to Grow On for his daughter Kathy, nicknamed Stack-a-Bones. She died at age 4 in a fire. His children's albums have become standards in nursery schools everywhere. Guthrie considered Tom Joad, written for the film of John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, the best song he'd written. On one of his radio shows, he gave his musical philosophy. I hate a song that makes you think that you are just born to lose. Too old or too young or too fat or too thin or too this or too that. I am out to sing songs that will prove to you that this is your world, no matter what. Robert Zimmerman started his career by learning hundreds of Guthrie songs. He held his guitar the way Guthrie did, invented a traveling past, and was pleased that his hair was curly like Guthrie's. He visited Guthrie in the hospital in 1961 and sang for him. By then, he had changed his name to Bob Dylan. So, that is it for the lives of the musicians. I hope you guys enjoyed these composer story times. They're available on YouTube and through the Facebook page if you ever want to go back and see them again. And that's it. So next story time will be something a little different, and I will see you then. Bye, guys, gals, and music pals.